morning. Thank you for watching this video on how to paint up the wee donkey over the wall that we made last week. Now the wee donkey sits on this slate coaster and just sits in the corner there looking out over the wall. But when we're painting him, we'll just paint him. I'm going to have him raised up just so you can see him slightly better. Take him off the coaster to paint him and clean up your coaster and set it to one side. So sometimes when you've left it to dry, either the donkey and the wall will have stuck together or they won't. If they haven't, that is not a problem. It's actually easier. It's easier to paint, but it's a stronger structure if they've dried together. If when they've dried, say they start to come apart, it's really easy to glue them together with a bit of tile adhesive. So the same adhesive you would use if you were tiling wall tiles. There are some glues that will do it, the type of like Grip Fix or No More Nails will stick it as well. So I'm using acrylic paints this morning because these quick and easy videos are really for people who don't have a kiln and just want to have a wee go at making something new. So we're going to start with painting the wall first of all. Hold on, I get myself some water. Just a second. So I would have a couple of wee jars of water and my kitchen roll to hand. So we're going to start in the wall. So it's a similar thought process that when you're painting the wall and painting the donkey, you don't want to just paint it with the one colour. You want to think about warm tones and cool tones. So sometimes when you look at a stone wall, the dark areas quite often are like more of a bluey green, and quite often that's green. The green moss even will grow on the areas that are in shade, and the areas that are getting the sun can sometimes seem a little pink. So the pink areas would be where the sun is touching, and they would be called the warm areas. The areas in the shade would be the cool areas, and they will be the cool colours like blues and greens. So I'm just going to mix up. This is just, you see this paint? Oh gosh. Camera angle is one of the most difficult, challenging things of making these videos. So I've just used basic acrylic paint. Let me see, how can I arrange that so you can see what I'm doing better? Let me see if I put this here. Okay. So I'm just going to use a wee bit of the green paint. Squeeze it out. Oh, it's a new one, that's why it's not squeezed out. I could add a wee bit of blue into that as well. There's purple. Purple will do nice. So I'm going to add a wee bit of purple in as well. Just a wee bit. This is just going to give me my dark colour. Okay. And then for this colour, I want this to be almost like a wash. So I put a little water into a jar here. Mix these two colours together to get a nice purpley green. Can you see what I'm doing? No, you can't really. How do you see? How can I make you see better? Okay, so I'm mixing the purple and the green together. And I'm just going to make that into like a wash. So when I say wash, it just means a really watery paint. So I'm going to wash it. So what I'm going to do, this is a lovely soft brush, and this is a real watery mixture. I'm just going to let that get right into all those cracks. That's why it needs to be watery, so it can slide into all those cracks. Do try not to get it on your donkey's chin, but if it does happen, it's not the end of the world. We'll just paint over it. Probably if you had a wee thin paintbrush, you would get in there easier. So now I'm just covering, this is the dark colour, but this is going everywhere because this is like a wash. I've used paper underneath this to catch any drips. So I think next Saturday morning we'll make seals. Because the weather has been so nice and sunny, we're all thinking about the beach and the seaside. I think it would be nice to do seals next week. So that'll be next Saturday morning. So I'm just turning it around and looking at it from all angles and making sure I have that watery wash of paint into every crack and crease. Okay, so that's that done. So I have this, and I'm going to use a little of the same just for, see the way there's darker, there's like, so not all over the donkey, just what I would call the shadowy areas. So what I want is almost like a patchy effect. I don't want it to be too solid of a colour. And I'm just going to put a wee wash of this around the edge of the donkey's ears. The edge of the donkey's ears is darker. Okay, yep, happy enough with that. So that's my dark colour. I can wash my brush out. Put it aside for a minute. So then we're going back to the wall. I'm going to do the lighter colour, the top colour. I'm really pleased with that because I can see already how that's drying, and the colours are, because I haven't been too thorough about the way I've mixed the colours. The green and the purple have separated slightly, which I'm really pleased about. So we talked about the top of the wall where the sun hits it being a warmer colour. So I'm going to mix a wee bit of, this is very bright pink, but we'll just put a tiny wee bit of this. And then I want some goldeny, creamy goldeny colour, so I'll put a wee bit of pale ochre colour. This is actually quite a goldy colour. I'll go for this and then add a bit of white. There's nice. There's a better shade of pink. That was just from Salt String Green. That would have been a better pink, so I'm using it. I want a paler pink. It was a wee bit too dark, and actually the pink, the first pink I lifted there, it had cooler tones to it. It had more sort of blue pink, and then a wee bit of white. Take away the pink that was too strong for me, because I needed to add too much white to that. So you can see those colours there that I have. And for the wash, I had used a nice soft watercolour brush like that. But for this stage I'm using a flat brush, and just want to roughly mix the colours together. So I still kind of want to see, I still want to see elements of the pink and the gold and the white. I don't want it to be fully mixed. Then I'll take a bit of kitchen roll. So this layer of paint we're putting on, the first one was really wet, so this is going to be quite dry. So I'll use a bit of kitchen roll, put a bit of paint on the brush and just wipe it off slightly in the kitchen roll. Okay, so it's mainly the wall. So we're going to just brush lightly, and you know what I'm doing is I have the brush quite flat and I'm not working underneath at all. I'm just going to work at the top where the sun would hit. And the drier your brush is, so the more you've kind of tried to wipe the paint off, the better the effect will be. Again, you can use this effect for making the stone cottages as well. So I'm brushing the tops. So just the tops, not underneath, just the tops. So I'll just lift that up, just let you see a bit close up. So you can see how that has brought out the texture, and it's just quite a nice wee effect. Okay, so then we're going to move on to the wee donkey. So we've put we still have our two darker colours. This is going to be a grey donkey. So that blue-green colour, I'm going to use both these colours and a little bit of black. So the first thing I want to do is first thing I want to do is get the black eyeliner on round the eyes. There's nothing worse than missing a bit round the eyes, and you know, it just looks dreadful. So put the eyeliner on for the eyelids first, and then with a thin wash of black and with a thinner brush. So say we paintbrush like this. So I'm just going to dip that into the black. So the black is still quite watery. And then I'm going to line the eyes. Just the crease of the eyes. And you do want, a bit like the wash, you want it to flow into the creases around your eyes. And then from the corner of the eye, if you aim towards the nose, they just have that. They do have like an eyeliner effect. And extend this out slightly. So you get almost that cat's eyes Egyptian kind of feel to it. But see the way there's a wee bit in there that the paint didn't flow into? I'll just go over that until I know, checking that from all angles, that that's nice and dark in there. And I'll do the same with the other side. This is not a great camera angle. That is one of the things on my to-do list, is to find a better way of positioning the camera when I'm doing this, so that you get the best possible view, but then I still am able to move my arms. Sometimes the best view is when the camera's right in front of my chest, but then I'm kind of like reaching around it. So it's probably not the most practical. So now, see the way that's run down there? Not worried about that at all. The most important thing is that I have that black eyeliner into the crease. That is so important. And then I'm going to take a very watered down version of the black and just keep it watered down and put it into the nose. Very watered down, because you want that to run. And if you hold it up like this when you're doing it, it will run down and pull so that it's darker at the back and lighter at the front. And I'm also going to, with a very watery black and this wee fine brush, just going to let it go in there. It's so watery that it's almost grey at this point rather than black. It's absolutely fine. Just want that to go right into the crease. And then we are going to just, we donkeys have, really showing this very well, they have dark colouring that comes down from their nose to their mouth. So I'm just kind of colouring right round that, the edge of the nostrils with this wash. And if you feel that you've done it there, I think that's a little too heavy. I'm not going to panic about that. And just take a clean paintbrush and soften that off a wee bit. That is the joy of acrylics. That's why, you know, for these quick and easy, I'm recommending you, that's why I'm recommending you use the acrylic paints. I want you to have the best chance of your sculpture turning out in a way that really pleases you and that is very doable. And the acrylic paints is going to do that for you. You just don't want any real hard edges. So that's a wee bit hard edge there. Just pull that away. Okay. And then I'm going to turn around and just do the tips of the ears. With that black as well. So I'm just doing line and edge to begin with. And then with an almost dry brush, I'm going to brush this down so that that's not a hard edge. But the black tips, I think there's, isn't there a story that the tips of the donkey's ears are black because the way they were held onto or something? It's in the back of my mind, I can't remember it exactly. So that's the points, if you like, of the donkey done. So with your pinky colour that you used for the top of the wall, I am going to add that in. Just mix together a wee bit of that pink and a wee bit of the colour you did for the wall, mix them together. Again, a bit like the wall, I don't want it too carefully mixed. So what is that? I set this down in a minute to show you what I've done. So this is the colour I used for the wall, this is for the shadow, for the highlight, and I've kind of mixed the two together, but in a very kind of rough way. I want bits of both to be in there, so you can see the different colours that are in there. And then what I'll do is I'll just clean my brush off and wipe it with the kitchen roll. And then in a similar way that we did the wall, I'm going to start. And when I'm painting the donkey, oh gosh, you can't see it all. So hopefully you can see that when I'm doing this, you can see the different colours coming through. And that definitely isn't a solid paint effect. Sorry, I apologise for the bad camera skills. That is top of my to-do list next week, is to find a way. And actually, if any of you do make your own videos and you have any expertise, what is the best way to rig up a camera to get right in to what I'm doing? It would probably be over my head, I'm guessing. at the minute I'm recording slightly to the side of me so that I can still see what I'm doing a wee bit. That's a wee bit too pale. I do want that paler colour up round there. So you could use this technique if you're, you know, doing any animal or the owls. Think about using more than one colour, preferably 3 colours, a minimum of 3 colours, but that you don't want a solid result. So you don't want to like this is a grey donkey, but I just didn't want to mix up a grey paint and just paint it grey all over. I wanted to have those different warm and cool tones coming through. So now I'm just going to do his wee mane, and I'll just take a wee bit of black and add that in. So I'm adding a wee bit of black into this colour here, the shadow colour. Again, see there's a wee bit of green, not worried about that at all. So this is a wee bit more solid, but then I'll go over it and just highlight it a bit more. Then just do a wee bit here for the But you put the dark colour on first, so that the dark goes into all the creases, and then you put your light colour over the top. I'm working that into all those wee textured lines. Then I'll clean my paintbrush, dry it off, lift a wee bit of that warmer tone, and again lift a wee bit of that warmer grey, and then dry it off on the kitchen roll, and then just stroke the tips just to break up the black as well, so it's not too solid and hard. And I also don't want a really solid line where the mane stops, so I'm just going to smudge that and soften that, so it, you know, just smudging that line down the mane there, so it's not too solid. That's a wee bit, it's a wee bit of smudging as well. You just don't want really hard lines. So. Okay, so now I'm going to take a wee bit of brown, just do the eyes. So when I'm doing the eyes, I'm not going to do a black pupil, I'm just going to do quite a dark brown, because if a donkey was far enough away to be that size, you're not going to see the pupil. You're just going to see a very dark, you're not going to see the definition between the pupil and the iris. So just taking a wee bit of brown and taking a wee bit of brown and black and mixing it up to be quite a dark brown. I'll just paint that in. So I don't want any hard lines, but because I've kind of done an eyeliner, the black is really darkening that. So I'll just, the black eyeliner is darkening that, so I don't have to be, so I don't have to take the brown right out to the edge of the eyeliner, I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. But I do want to have a wee bit of brown showing through. I'll do that. So the last thing we have to do is I'm going to take a wee bit of that gold, a wee bit of the white together. This looks like, actually I need a wee bit more white on that. So I tend to put white on last, work from dark to light. And when I'm putting the white on around the eyes, I don't want it to be a solid white. I'm going to soften it by adding in a wee bit of the gold in, or you could add a wee bit of the pink tones in. How would I say, can you see this? So I've, you know, with the white, I've added a wee bit of the pink, a wee bit of the gold, and a wee bit of the white. Yeah. So I'm going to test out this colour by doing the wee bit underneath the, can you see what I'm doing? Just this wee bit in here. So I'm happy enough with that colour. Then I've painted this bit in, so I want to soften that. So with an almost dry brush, I'm just pulling that paler colour out. So I'm just softening that line. And then I'm going to do a wee bit on the eyes. So again, more of a tapping. Feel that you don't want it to be too solid here either. I just need to put a little bit more there because my eyeliner, if your eyeliner runs, then you can just, at this stage, you can just put your paler colour over the top. No problem. So I've still left the colour of the clay to show through. That's not really solid. Then I'm just going to take some of that colour. And just now, I'm not going to paint all the way on the inside. You see what I'm doing now? I have to get the camera angle better. So I'm just doing wee flicks out. But I'm leaving the, you know, you could do a wee bit of dark in there, but I'm not even going to worry about it. A wee bit of the grey colour, the cool stone colour if you wanted. There's right there, I'm not happy about it. And then again here, I'm just going to flick out. Just cleans up that inner edge. Again, you want to try and avoid any hard edges. So I'm just going to do the same on the other side. Here's my neck. I just want to soften that. I'm going to introduce a wee bit of grey and underneath behind that, just so it's not too bright because that's a shadow area. Don't want that to we don't want that to be as light as the area around his eyes. And then just around his eyes. Not solid, just wee taps. and turn them to the front and try and get the, what do you say, so turn them to the front, and I'm trying to get those to the white patches under his eyes, get them similar. They don't need to be perfectly symmetrical, but they're better if they're slightly. Some donkeys would nearly have that, would nearly be white from there right to the nose, and I think actually I'm going to do that with this wee boy. So you can, hopefully you can see here when I'm doing this, I'm with quite a dry brush, I'm overlapping in some of that dark to soften that all in. Let's get some grey from there. So that's how it's starting to come together. So let's start to look like he's nearly finished. So all then I need to do is get a coat of clear varnish, clear nail varnish, and just put it over his eyes. Of course I can't find nail varnish now. Okay, just give me 1 wee minute. Let's see, so a wee coat of clear nail varnish mixed to the eyes. So some people will go, oh, we'll put a wee bit of white in to show the reflection. Oh, definitely not. Just put a wee bit of clear. Nail varnish over the top. And there you have your little donkey over the wall. You can either use, to attach your donkey onto the slate coaster, you can either use 2-part epoxy resin like araldite, or tile cement. Works really well, tile adhesive and cement, so you can buy that in a tub for about £5, or No More Nails, and just attach your wee donkey onto your wee slate, and there you go. Easy peasy. And please do post up your versions. I'd really like to see them. Thank you very much for watching, and I promise the video skills will be better next week. Thank you. Bye.